Hello, everybody. Can you see us? Yes? No? Yes, no? Yeah? Come on. I can see Brenda. She always speaks. Please, Brenda, let us know if you can see us, can hear us. Okay. Okay. At least somebody replied. Perfect. Okay. Now I understand why you didn't answer. Hello, everybody. It's always nice to see you all. So, Isali, should we start?
Yeah.
Okay. So, first of all, we will do the traditional sharing the slide and explaining what we do here. So let me share the slides. Okay. Opa. So welcome to SEO North Switzerland. Thank you so much for joining us. We will speak later on about Jo, SEO Jo blog, as she's more well known. But let me first of all introduce the association. So Isalin and I opened SEO North Switzerland like in 2019, I think. Isalin can correct me on that, but I think November 2019, something like this. And we did it because we were like looking for people to speak about SEO. So it was a little bit for selfish reason. Then we decided to share our knowledge. Then we had, and then we decided to interact with other people, and the community growth. And there is tons of people that want to learn about SEO. So it's super cool. Next, let's speak about our sponsor. So our sponsor, we have Leap, obviously, because without our sponsor, we can't do much. So, or better, we were doing before, but we can do more with the sponsor. They help us, Leap, for example, help us with the tools. Like you can see us. It's also thanks to Leap. So this is one of our sponsors. The second one is Working SEO. I don't know, Isalin, if you want to say something about it. If not, I will say it. No? Okay, I will go for it. So, but Working SEO is a job board, and you have a lot of podcasts. Is Isalin normally then organize the podcast, and there are tons of beautiful stories around people, around how they face their SEO job, how they grow. It really helps you also navigate a bit your career to try to figure out, okay, how the other one did it. Maybe I can reproduce it. What it is the problem, then they face it. Maybe I can overcome the problem. So I really think then it is worth it because there is a job board, and it is worth it because there is a fantastic podcast, very human. You can, people are really honest when they speak. So what else? Our next event. So this is like a fantastic Isalin. Then did all the drawing. No, it's not the drawing that I want to say. The slide. And as you can see, she and I, we are a big fan of cats. So what we will have next month, is a bit connected to what the previous slides and the previous sponsor. What does it take to land your dream job? Because we speak a lot about technical SEO, we speak a lot about content, we speak a lot about everything. But one of the main things that we think that is important, and we keep this event once per year, we already had last year, and it was super cool, is really to have the experience of the other one. They will share, so there will be Max and Sabia, and they will come, they will share their experience, they will speak a little bit, and you can ask them tons of questions. The next event, it will not be recorded. You can switch on your camera, switch off your camera, do whatever you want. It will not be a webinar. Everybody will be free to speak to them, and they will give their experience, their point of view about the hiring. So I really feel then, yes, it's a nice event. As I say, we had it last year, and it feels really good. Then people can share their experience. Next, oops, I wanted to stop sharing, but I didn't. Okay, yes, I stopped sharing. Yeah. Sorry, I don't have any more to screen, so I never know where to look. And so now, just to explain you how we will structure the meetup. So we will have SEO Black speaking. Then she will speak about how to do a technical audit if you're not a technical person, which is super cool. And at the end, you can ask her questions. So you can put your questions in the chat, there is no problem, or you have a ask a question button, then you can click and write it there. And we will take the questions. But before starting, okay, I know I've spoken a lot today, but before starting, let me introduce SEO Joe Blog. So what can I say? First of all, she opened her own company. Can I say that? It's too late,
Yes,
I already said it.
you can.
Okay, I already said it anyway. So Ecommerce Global. She's a consultant. She also organized the super famous, I think that now at this point is super famous, Search London. So I think that everybody know it. And she is, I would say, it's a lot of years than you work in SEO or digital marketing in general, no? How many years?
Yes, I think maybe e-commerce since 2003, and then more web dev since maybe 2008, 2009.
So, okay, so we can say then you are like, it's a long time then you are in digital marketing SEO. So that's super cool. And I don't know, I think then you can introduce yourself. Maybe you can say something more about yourself and share your slides.
Great, yes, thank you. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you very much, Iseline and Sarah, for having me on today. I'm big fan of the SEO Nerd, and I'd actually asked to speak a while ago, and I was so excited to have this spot, and now it's come. So thank you, and it was good to meet both Iseline and Sarah. I believe it was, early this year, although it seems like longer ago, but no, it was just earlier. So I'm just going to share my screen in a moment. There we go. So thank you very much, Iseline and Sarah. And please, I can't see you guys, so if there's anything wrong with the slides, please let me know. Maybe I should do it in view in actually slideshow one. There, can you, if anyone can, if you can just say, can you still see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay,
it's perfect.
Okay, great. So thank you, Iseline and Sarah, for having me today. We're going to be talking about how to perform a technical audit even when you're not a tech SEO. I use that title because sometimes you don't always have the word I'm a tech SEO or I'm a technical manager in your job title. Sometimes you don't have that because maybe you're doing quite a lot of other things. You're like the marketing director, or maybe you're the SEO manager or the SEO executive, but you were doing a lot of tech work anyway. And as Sarah said, yes, I've been in digital marketing for some time, and I've done a lot of site migrations and a lot of, I guess, tech work, but it wasn't classified as that. So even when actually Arid was talking about doing her Women in Tech SEO community, I was thinking, well, am I a tech SEO? But yes, if we are doing anything to do with websites, all of us know a little bit about tech SEO. And also thank you, Sarah, for saying about my company. Yes, I'm a freelance marketing consultant, so I do work with other companies, but I did just set up my company here in Spain, in Barcelona, called Turn Global. So that's being official this month. And as Sarah said, yes, Search London, we're 12 years old, so we'll have a party probably in the new year. So if anybody would like to pitch to speak, or we're looking for sponsors, let me know. And I win a runner-up in a couple of categories as well, and was the founder of Turn Digi, which is an online event. And I always promoted first-time speakers, actually even Search London, because and this is why I really appreciate events like SEO Nerd Switzerland, because you don't need to be someone that speaks at lots of events to share your knowledge. And that's actually a really good part of Tech SEO. If you share what you learn, you grow and build confidence as well in that. So these are the things we're going to go through today. Also within the time limit, I can just talk about, I can't go into too much depth, but I really want to focus on the audit, some of the plugins and tools, and a bit of the manual checks. Then we'll go through the steps and how we can also build our confidence within this Tech SEO space, and also some areas where I suggest you go to keep learning about it. So first one, really, when you deliver the audit, do you normally get a reaction like this? I don't know, like people are really confused when you deliver like some of them were like 20, 30 pages of audits. I've had that before. Really what the aim is to have something where people understand what you're talking about. So what I found is that people don't ask questions. People don't want to be seen as stupid, although it's not. So your client, if you're delivering an audit, won't ask, oh, what does this mean? They may not ask it. So a big tip for me is this thing called KISS. KISS, keep it simple. And then they use the word stupid, but just keep it simple. And the fact that you just need to have something really clear. So this comes into like communication, and make it concise as well. So more is not better. Highlight things that they can change and obvious ones too, but explain that well. If there is a pattern, you don't, and again, this comes down to actual budget or time, you probably don't need to repeat the same thing, digging deeper into the site. If there is already a pattern, you can suggest that to the client. Oh, we found this and we believe it is affecting these other pages, for example. With audits, I always like to think about the end actually first. Who is fixing it, what the output is. I intend to do it in a Google Sheet and have either a Google Word document or a Google slide to go with it. Tech audits can take as long as you want. Some of them can take a week. But if you're a freelance consultant or if you're working in a small budget, you have to just try and be conscious of time. So sometimes you can do one in 8 hours, maybe 8 hours, so one day, or maybe 16 hours. But it just needs to be really concise with what you're doing. And that's why it's really important to think about the end before you do it. I was trying to find an engaged photo, because when you present the results, you want people to be like, yay, I understand what you're talking about. But this is more of the one that I found, even though where I live, there is no snow and we are not basically near a computer. I was trying to find one where, yay, we want engagement on Zoom call, because also you don't need to deliver these in person. It's perfectly fine to do these, obviously, online, even though coronavirus restrictions have eased for now. So this is what I like to deliver, something like this: the issue, what the priority is, and the responsibility person. So if it's me, or if it's agency or freelancer, or the client. And I want to see if I can actually share this Google Sheet too, but let me just see if it will open. Ooh. Yeah, so this is how I like to have it as an overview. So the overview will be here. Obviously, I'll put like, my name and the logo's name as well, what we'd like to do, the implementation date. This is
Joe,
yes?
Can you make it a little bit bigger?
Oh, yes.
Or is it just me? Like, like 100%, maybe 125.
Yeah. I don't know if I can. Just see. Oh, is it?
It's on the left. Yeah.
Oh, right. Sorry, of course. Can you see it like this?
Yeah. Just tiny bit. Awesome. Thank you.
So thanks for that, Iseline. Yeah, implementation date. I do this as well because then maybe here I could be like, look at the results. What did we do? Because it can be very easy to forget about this audit. Yeah, great, done it, and then not realize what the results are. And this is a checklist that I go through as well. Can everyone see the checklist?
Yes, we can.
So this normally is the checklist that I go through. Obviously, this will then become this will actually become the numbers. So it will be issues, and then you'll say the number of pages that you have, redirects, any 302 redirects, any status codes of 400. There's a lot of checklists that you can do. There's one on Moz, but to be honest, these are the ones that I've found that are the ones that are the most occurring. And what I've done here is ones that you can do for free. There's some free tools, and there are some paid tools. SF is Screaming Frog, and there are some extensions. So I'm going to go through that as well. So Google Search Console, this is a web developer plugin. Some are manual checks as well. So I will go back to the presentation now. So I wanted to show you thinking about the end, obviously before you start the audit. So there, as I said before, there were some manual checks that you can do. So this one, for example, Boohoo, I just did a site and then colon and then put their website in. And what they have is the pages that people are looking to search for a product in Boohoo are being indexed. Yeah. So if I'm working with Boohoo, for example, I would see, I would do a manual check first, and then I would actually look out for that when I do the crawl. And I always like to look at a few manual checks or do a few manual checks before I start a audit. I do that by doing the manual checks and also doing some plugins. So this is a great one, actually. Areej told me about this one, so thanks, Areej. This tells you about if the page is redirected, if it says as well what the robot's text status says, and also it says if there's any canonical, the status of the canonical tags as well. So this is from Sam Gibson or Gibson. So I would really recommend you have that. It's just really good to see, again, what's blocked or not blocked, and then you can take that in when then you go and do the crawl for your site. Another one is this one. If anyone's seen this, IEMA, it's very, very useful. You can already see things like, oh, maybe the homepage is 302 redirected, or the site just had been migrated, and you can see that, oh, actually they're migrating, let's say the German site over to the French site by accident, of course. So this is really good to see, because if you find them in the manual checks and looking at the plugins, you can then be aware when you spot any patterns in the crawl. Another one is this one. It's called the Web Developer Extension. This is good because you can also disable JavaScript. And it has a lot of other things here, like you can see the CSS, the images as well. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Oh, gone ahead of myself. So I really like to use these plugins. So first of all, before you're doing a technical audit, do some manual checks. Use these plugins to check if you can see a pattern, if there are redirects that shouldn't be, if there's things that exclude that shouldn't be. Coming to the tools, lots of tools, of course, that we can use. So I'm sure many of you know some of them. We have Screaming Frog, SEO Ranking, SEMrush. Some of the ones that are more of a 12-month commitment are Searchmetrics, Lumira, and OnCrawl. So Searchmetrics does have a crawling software, but it was also a keyword research and a platform where you could optimize, obviously, your content as well. I'm going to focus on Screaming Frog today because this is a set fee that you pay for one license for the year, and it's very, very affordable. I believe it's maybe around £200, or maybe just under with that. But you can check that out on Screaming Frog, and the staff are really great. Dan and his team respond to emails really, really quickly. So if you have any questions, you can always ask them. But they also have a lot of videos too on their site to help you. So we're going to go through Screaming Frog now. So I'm going to try and share my Screaming Frog. Let me just see if I can get out of this, sorry. Okay, so now I wanted to share my Screaming Frog. So this is a Screaming Frog. Sorry to ask, Gwen, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is a crawl that I did earlier, or here's one I made earlier. So this one is one for the Good Store Barcelona. So what you would do is you'd open Screaming Frog and you'd put your URL there in, and then you'd press start. What I like to look at when a crawl is finished is I'll look at the HTML. I'll tend to look at the response codes as well. But before I go into that, I like to look and see the indexability versus the undexable or non-indexable. So we have a 4,000 nearly URLs here. The Good Store Barcelona is a store where you can buy sustainable clothes. So clothes made out of recycled products or 100% cotton. So if I was looking around this, I just did this. So I spotted something like this. Look, non-indexable. Why is that? This is a product. Why are they not indexing this one? That would be weird. And it's canonicalized. So I can have a look at this one, for example, because, why would you not want to index your product page? We'll look at this. This is some earrings. We look at this. You see the robots checker? It's come up here. Oh, robots text aloud. Great. Points to different URL. Points to one that is products because of the collections. So sometimes with some stores I haven't investigated, this might be something to do with Shopify. So Shopify have a collections and a products page that you can't have. You can't seem to get rid of them. So they've done a canonical tag to the products page, I believe, for that reason. So it also helps when you're doing an overview, a tech audit, to know also what CMS that they are using. So we have our crawl here. We can look through the page titles, obviously, here, what's indexable and not. Now, there's a lot of information that you could export, but what you want to do is you want to really drive home the key important pages. Looking at pages like this, I don't know which one is important for them. So when you do your crawl, what you could do actually is do this one using API access. So you could actually connect it to the analytics or their search console to then see what are their most important pages. Of course, you can still export this. Pretend you didn't have access to GA or GSC. You can still export this. And then you could relook up against maybe some data that you had from maybe SEMrush or any other software that tracks traffic if you don't have access to GA or Google Search Console. But it would be nice to have everything in one. This I have used before, Google Page Insights. This is very useful because it allows you to see, okay, how fast are the pages loading? And then it helps you to prioritize things as well. I'm sure you all know how to export, but I'm just going to say, so normally I would just export it here. One thing I wanted to say was maybe you might have a client that has done a crawl and they have set up certain settings. Now in SaaS platforms like Searchmetrics or in DeepCrawl or Lumar, they will have certain filters on it. So that's already set up and everyone from anywhere in the world can go in and log into this. With Screaming Frog, it's not quite the same, which is this is running your computer. So if you want to make sure that you're crawling the same site as your client, you'll want to, of course, we'll clear this. What you'd want to do is you'd actually go to File, and you'd actually go to Configure, and you load the config file that they have sent you. And that allows you to crawl it as they have done. Another thing as well within here is robots.txt. Now, you can decide if you want to respect the robots.txt ignore it, or ignore text or report status. So maybe if you want to ignore it, it might be because perhaps you want to do a type of analysis where there are other areas of the site that maybe could be optimized from a crawl budget angle. So if you are respecting the robots.txt file, you might not always pick up everything that that you could. But again, it depends on how many URLs that you would have. What you can also do is you can do include and exclude. So you can exclude any URLs that you don't want, as they said here in Screaming Frog. So this could be anything like the search functionality that we had with boohoo.com. So I would do like this, and then I would do search / I think it was. Was this one? Sorry, search. So then you would exclude all of those search URLs that were being crawled in boohoo.com. When you do the manual checks, you can find these type of patterns. Other ones are other parameters. So sometimes people have it with, the question mark. So you'd also want to exclude that too, because it's just a bit of a waste of crawling. I mean, of course you can do that, but it just takes more time. So that's what I mean when I said earlier about following or finding the patterns. So let me close this. We go back to the presentation. So I'll just put this back into view slideshow. So can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. Another reason to exclude is because of this element called faceted navigation, which maybe you've heard about, or it's called filters as well. When people have a lot of options, sizing and pricing, sometimes they have generated URLs that are indexable. It is not the best because it has caused duplicate content issues, because you might have the same URL for gray sweaters, blue sweaters, and so on. And so you're just having the same product. It then also ends up making that your site is much, much bigger than it is, the index bloat. And the crawling issues, although Google disputed it, it could be a waste of crawl budget. Ahrefs has a great blog all about faceted navigation. So we just did this one. These are a couple of other examples, actually. Patagonia is another one. You can see this question mark, pref 1 filter relaxed. So if we were to do a crawl, we want to exclude that too. Body Shop was a very bad site, actually. I was not able to choose my location, so I decided, so I couldn't actually see any of the filters. It thinks that I'm in Spain, which is fine, but it wouldn't let me change anything. So we went through the audit, some plugins, and now I just want to take you through some other steps. Just repeat some of the steps. So I shared you the checklist. I would recommend that you have your own checklist. This is an example. Of course, there are other ones, but these are the ones that seem to come up the most. I would also recommend that you speak to your client and ask them what are the things that they have had most issues with. Because sometimes they may have already discovered some of the issues that you found. So if they do actually have a previous tech audit, it's fine to ask them, oh, do you have another tech audit? So that you make sure that you are adding value to your audit. I would never underestimate the fact of doing manual checks or using any of the plugins as well. Your choice on the tool, it depends on budget. So I really like Screaming Frog because you can crawl small to medium-sized sites quite well. And I would suggest you do have a good size RAM on your computer. I think 16 RAM is quite good. But if you're working across multi-country teams or people we're not in the same office, I do think a SaaS platform is really good because it means everyone can go in and have a look at it, and that crawl is there forever. You can always also compare that crawl against the previous crawl, and that's very, very handy. And I will show you also Google Search Console. So first of all, look at your checklist, do some manual checks, use the plugins within the manual area, and also then run it through a crawler. Use Google Search Console if you have access to see if you have any more errors. And just be conscious of time and what your output is. So this is what I mentioned about the manual checks. This is what I mentioned about the tools, trying to focus on the high priority pages. And this is, of course, if you do have analytics access. This is Google Search Console. So this is if you wanted to see about why maybe some pages were not indexed. It's totally fine to have redirects. That's fine. But really things like this, any 404s, be good to investigate that further. Maybe this one as well. Why is it crawl but not indexed? That might be another one to investigate further. And also this one, if you have alternative page with proper canonical tag, like we saw in the other example. Oh, I missed that. Like we saw in the other example. So Google Search Console sometimes gives in a little bit of extra information that maybe you might not see as easily in a tool. But I would use all three. And then when you come to present, just be consistent. So for example, the 404, dedupe that against, for example, the crawl that you did in Screaming Frog. And when you found things like, let's say, crawl not currently indexed, have a bit of manual check as to maybe why that is the case. What is the pattern there? Because you wouldn't actually get that. You may not get that actually in Screaming Frog. But we can ask Screaming Frog if that would be the case, because I'm obviously not the expert at that product, but it is a very, very good tool. So as I mentioned, the time, just be aware of it, the patterns, and then with your report that you send through, just say what you found, and be careful also to say, oh, we looked at X number of URLs and we've seen a pattern. Therefore, it would appear that, for example, instead of saying, yes, definitely, this is the main reason, but you only analyzed 4 URLs. So we went through some of these, and now I just want to talk about a little bit on confidence, just aware of time, and then some areas where you can keep learning. So I've shared this before. It was about the fact of suffering from a lack of confidence. I did this 2 years ago, and I did want to do another one this year, but I didn't get many votes. The main takeaway from this is that both men or female and males suffer from confidence, lack of confidence. The fact is, though, I did get less males taking part, 234 against 424. But I think that, this is about 50-50. But the fact is that if you are suffering from a lack of confidence, be aware that many people are too. And there's nothing wrong with it. But it's like practice. If you don't think that you're good at one particular aspect, don't hide away from it or shy away. Go and practice it more. I was just mentioning this one. This is about this imposter syndrome. It's not necessarily because someone is not confident they have imposter syndrome. It is just a sort of a different category, but it can affect someone's confidence and affect anyone at any stage of their life. But again, this is something I think that if you do suffer from it, there's ways to address it instead of hiding away from it. And I believe a lot of people do have it, and they are addressing this. One thing that did help me was about this Clifton Strengths Finder, where you can actually find out what are the most important things that you're good at. It's based on your 34 personality traits, actually. So you get 5 that become 5 of your key strengths, become your talents if you work on them. So this is actually really important to do. These are the different elements here: strategic, relationship building, influencing, executing. So I'm under responsibility here. And also under here, I have empathy and developer. Well, there we go. It's just really fast, this presentation. So I would recommend to do this, and this has helped me as well. So how can you learn more about this? Well, this is great. Aleda Solis, she already has this on learning.io. Thank you very much, Aleda. There's a lot of people that do run their own courses. Very, very useful, and I would recommend people attend them. SEMrush does have their own sort of test. You can do a Tech SEO exam and see how you appear against different elements such as robots, TXT, and it redirects sitemaps. I really like this one by the Grey Dot Company. They did about how to do a JavaScript SEO audit. It was really good. These are other SEO guidelines that I looked at as well. This one was very useful, the Ultimate Guide to JavaScript SEO. This was another course when I said earlier on about the fact that there are many people that do their courses. This is a great one. I did it, and it really does help to translate any sort of tech issues maybe that you found or any sort of SEO issues to the board level. It helps you to really basically speak to the managers that are the budget holders. This is a great one I did as well about Ecommerce SEO from Luke Carthy. He did that with Blue Array, really good one. Another thing that I've done is I've helped people, but I've also been mentored as well. I had some great advice from the Women Tech SEO community, and I had a teacher help me as well with some elements of Tech SEO, which made me realize that actually I do know a lot more than perhaps I led to believe. We're always our biggest, number one biggest critic. So it was good to speak to someone else. So the Women in Tech SEO does have had the mentorship program too there. Tech SEO course by Blue Array. This is really good. It was free, and I believe it still is free for the moment anyway. It's a great course. So I did like this one from Oprah. A mentor is someone who allows you to see the hope inside yourself. So as I said, the Women in Tech SEO community had one. It was great. But there's also, of course, other events you can attend and virtual ones where you can get a mentor. I really think you get a lot from being a mentor too, because it does help you with the number one of improving your confidence, and then that feeds back into your work as well. But it's good for work and private life too. It helps professionally and your personal skills too. So these are some events that are taking place. You can always speak there. Obviously, Search Love was already this week. International Search Summit is next month, in Barcelona. Great event. We have SEOCom in Salzburg the day after. That'll be tough to go to straight after. Search London, we'll have that, our 12th birthday in Q1 next year, to be confirmed. And of course, we have the Women in Tech SEO event coming up in March 2023. So in order to carry out your tech audits, improve your confidence, I would make sure that we're always learning about different things. The learning.io is great from Aleda Solis. SEOMBA, I was saying starting in September, but I know we're in October now. But you can start really anytime. But just try and have a time limit for when you want to complete it. The Blue Array, I've aimed to complete it within 2 months. I haven't finished it yet, but I will. And to be a teacher, yes, to share what you have with others. I like this one as well, this saying that, I think this happened when I first started out and working, and I was very young, and I was surrounded by a lot of older people who obviously been in the industry for forever. I was in finance, and this one actually resonated a lot with me. So it's down to you. You don't need to feel bad or anything. If you are feeling bad, maybe it's you. It's not. You can't allow anyone else to make you feel bad or inferior. So thank you very much for having me on the show today, Isaline and Sarah. You can contact me at SEO Joe Blogs or at Search London or even at Turn Digi.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Thank you. It was excellent. I think then everybody felt the connection with your presentation because it was more than about Tech SEO. It was a lot about also confidence. How can you improve? So I think then it was really complete. And one thing maybe then I can add because I did it. Blue Array also have a Tech SEO certificate. So you have some classes,
yes.
and it is for free, by the way. So that is like one extra thing.
Okay, great. So it's still free. Perfect. Good.
Or I think I did it for free, so I think then that
Yeah.
one is for free anyway. And do you? I saw a question before. Then it was question about. It was like Brenda asking question
yes.
about the prioritization. That word prioritizing table. Do you ever attempt to factor in the level effort for implementing the specific recommendation?
Yes, that is correct. So in another company that I was at, we had a level of effort. We had priority and then level effort. And the company that I'm working with now, also, we have level of effort too, because it's level of effort on I would say more about the SEO impact. I mean, we can't say what their level of SEO of the effort is because we don't know their tech team.
So, for example, just to make it clear to everybody, so one thing then you do, it's really you for example ask to the developers, okay, I want to implement XY, how much effort it will take you? High, medium, low?
Yes, we do high, medium, low. In terms of what I would say, we'd say SEO effort. In other companies, yes, I've been there and we've actually said priority, so high, low, medium, and then we've also put in the work effort. So how easy it is to do based on the fact that we know their CMS. It really does depend on how that company works, but it's very important to be clear on the priorities, and then the I normally like to say like priorities, like how important or how much of an impact this would be. And if I know the person's CMS, I will then put work effort.
Top. Okay. Somebody else have a question around the Tech SEO? Okay, no. Well, I know then it will come. Sadly, they always come at the end. So I have something that I wanted to ask you. Just this is more about your opinion, because you were saying like Screaming Frog is better for small and average website. So I also have used Screaming Frog for large website, but I also have used like online tools like on crawling, to be honest. And don't know, at the end, opinion, at the end, the cost,
Yes.
it's quite different. And Screaming Frog, I don't use it very often for that, but you can increase the memory. So
correct. Yes. So I just want to. It was just my personal what my personal experience of what I found with the Screaming Frog. And yes, you can extend it. Is that I found it? I guess when I would say small websites, medium, maybe it would be like I don't know, 200,000 or so URLs. So maybe some people think that's big. I don't know. And I found that if you're working with a multi-global team, that sometimes if you have a SaaS product where anyone can log in, then you can see everything in one area. But with Screaming Frog, yes, you can expand the memory. I have done this as well. I have found that it tends to be better if I can leave it run and work on another computer.
yes, same experience. So, okay. So wait, there is another question. Okay. Do you use Screaming Frog new issue features?
Screaming Frog new issue features. So you
To
mean
be
what
honest,
are the new features?
to be honest, I don't know it either. And I know that there was this new version that I didn't download. So Brenda, maybe you can give more explanation. There is a new, because there is the new version 70 point blah, 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 something.
Oh,
So
I had
maybe
this
that
one
is-
17.2. I didn't, it always tells me to download the latest license if I'm running a crawl and I don't have it. But I think I downloaded 17.2 last week. And so it hasn't asked me to download anything else again. I didn't look at any major features because I did go into my little zone and just do what I've been doing before.
So
Brenda
Brenda,
said
just
it's
to make it clear, there is a tab, and in the tab there is written issue.
in the
Is
tab
that-
is really issue.
No, I'm just asking because, to be honest, I always use my own tab, and maybe I just keep that one. So I don't know, Brenda. But we never know.
Huh. But I would say if there are any new features or anything that you're unsure about, they're so good with coming back to you, and they're very good at updating their categories, their videos. Oh, Brenda says like Content King or Skype Bob and Screaming Frog. It's a new feature. Ah, great. Didn't know that. See, that's the thing. Like you learn something new all the time. Ah, it came out 3 months ago. Okay.
It's okay.
It's like Content King or Skype Bob and okay. Well, that's something for me to look at. I didn't look at that part.
So
I
I
will.
guess then everybody in the call now will go and check that.
Yes, but thanks, Brenda. But yeah, this is the thing. Like, things update all the time. Sometimes you're too busy and you get focused in, as I said, in your own little, oh, this is where I go, so I'm going to look at this. And you don't maybe pay attention to some of the newer features. But I will now have a look at that one.
Okay. What? It is Content King as a tab. Okay. Sorry, I didn't see that there was all the chat. Together with the ability to detach the tabs. Okay.
Ooh,
Well.
Spider 7. Okay, so this is the Spider version 17. Oh, posted, okay, last month. Oh, end of August. Okay, issues. Yeah. They have got issue type and issue priority. Yes, that's very good.
Oh, they have the priority too.
Yes, they added that bit. The links one. Okay, yes, the links one I did see, but I didn't look. Okay, the new limits. Okay, yes.
So maybe wait. I don't know. Maybe everybody want to see what we are looking at, and we share quickly the screen.
Do you want me to share the screen?
I was sharing the screen. It's okay.
Can you were? Okay.
Okay, can you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is yes, this is good. I didn't see this one now.
So we have here the issue. Okay, for example, not indexed. So we also have interesting. We also have if it is a warning, a issue, an opportunity. Okay, and then you have the priorities. Again, it's still a tool. It's cool, but it's still a tool because if you have maybe like very few no index or a lot of no index, it depends on the website that you have, no?
Yeah,
so,
maybe.
So you still have to be there, but it's cool then there is, yes.
But yes, we need to, there's always good to be sharing. And as Monty said, that's why you have conferences and talks to keep up to date with what's happening. So
we still have a few minutes. Do somebody question? Because if not, I start to count. They will start the countdown and then she will go. You will lose her. No, I'm joking. You can still contact her on Twitter. Okay. Okay, so let's start the countdown. Are you sure? 5, 4, 3, 2. It's your last chance there. Okay. Everybody's stressed there. No, it's okay. You can still write thank you and everything. It was just for the questions. Okay, so we stop. There are no more questions. I join everybody saying thank you. It was really cool. I really love the new add also the confidence part. I'm pretty sure then I never saw a presentation adding that, and it's probably one of the technical parts. You can always learn it, but confidence, it's probably one of the things that people miss the most. So it was I'm impressed. Let's face it, I'm impressed.
Well, thank
It
you.
was great. Thank you so much, and then see you soon. Kiss to everybody. Ciao, Iselin. Ciao.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very
Ciao,
much.
ciao. Oh yeah, it's just stop. Okay. There is the Twitter handle if you want to join it, and if you have more questions. Okay. Ciao, everybody. Thank you so much. Ciao.
Thank you.
Bye.